Hi, we are
Hello.
Safe Play Studio, and we are here to start a playthrough with the devs with me, Francesco Berton, game director of Venice 2089. I have with me Giacomo Checchin, community manager for Safe Play Studio,
Hello.
and Giovanni Colussi, sound designer for Venice 2089.
Hello.
So before we start playing the demo of the game, we want just to remind you that our game is going to a Kickstarter that will come very soon. On 20th of June, we have the preview page live online at Kickstarter. So be sure to wishlist when it comes out on June 20th. So I think we can start. Let's go
Okay.
with the demo of the game and let's see what we got for you.
Great start. I liked it. Great job. Okay, so meanwhile, what you guys can do during this stream, this is something this is something casual, to be completely honest. As written, it's just something to kick things off with Steam Next Fest. We are going to have another stream at a later date, but we are going to announce very soon. But meanwhile, yeah, we'll have this little playthrough with the three of us. So feel free to ask us anything about the game, about Safe Play Studio. I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions around. So again, don't feel scared. We don't bite. We promise. Also, it's kind of difficult to bite through a screen, so no problem.
So yeah, we think we can start talk about Nova, the main character of the game, Venice 2089.
Yes.
So yeah, go.
Oh yeah, right, throwing me in the pit. Okay. Yeah, Nova. This is the main character of the game, and uh, uh, from scratch, from the start of development, it has always seemed like the kind of character that many people would emphasize with, because it's this kind of character that um, doesn't really get involved into what's happening in the world. Narratively, Nova is just returning from an exam sessions, a school exams, and they are returning to their hometown of Venice to meet their grandfather. Um, and what they want to do is just to relax, just chill around, don't think about anything that happened in the last weeks. Um, and this is when things start to kick off because right in the first day you get the feeling that something's not right with Venice, because it's completely different from the Venice we are all accustomed to, and yet Nova doesn't really feel this this pressure, this changing that is happening to the city. And it's something that will show much more later in the game. But at the end of the day, it's a message about starting to care about things near you. Nova will start to care about Venice, and it will be through a progression system, mainly through something we're going to talk later, but mainly it's through quest, it's through narrative, and it's something that personally I am really proud of because actually seeing people that comment how Nova is a very likable character, someone who they can really empathize with. That means that we as a team have done something right when creating the character of Nova.
Yeah, Nova is a kind of anti-hero. Nova is not a hero. On the other side, we have Grandpa that is a
But
huge
he's trying to be the hero.
that he is trying to be the hero of Venice and trying to save Venice, creating manifestations, showcases with the citizens, trying to gather the more people as possible to find a solution to save Venice. So in the first day of the game, Nova helps Grandpa to put the posters all around Venice, as you can see from the demo, and this is a kind of way we wanted the player to explore Venice in the more free way as possible. So Nova will go out from Grandpa house and start running around with the overboard, trying to get to those places pointed by the Grandpa to put posters for the people. So as we said, Venice is kind of a chill game just from the beginning. So the overboard is the main mechanic to chill out and have some fun exploration in the city. But during the development of the game, Nova will find some stuff to do to save Venice and to discover the stories of the people, of the citizens of Venice. So
yeah. Oh, sorry. Finish.
go go on.
No. I previously wanted to latch on about the structure of the first quest, about going around in Venice, attaching posters, and also exploring Venice with your hoverboard. And I think, to be a first mission, kind of a tutorial, but not really, it does a really good job because narratively, it's a boring quest. It's one of those quests when you just have to find around to places X, press interaction button, and then go to the next one. So you kind of introduce Grandpa's character and Grandpa's ideals with these kind of old-fashioned, slightly boring type of mission, and it's not something that makes you dislike Grandpa, but it's something that kind of dampens what your first impression will be. But then the discussion went on, so I'm gonna go next by saying yes about the relation that Nova has with the different inhabitants of Venice. There are many left, and here in the demo there are even fewer, but it's something very interesting that is going to be very interesting for the player. Starting to get to know the points of views of these characters, because every one of them is going through the same thing. Yeah, Venice sinking, but at the same time in their own distinct way, while holding their own personal beliefs. Such is, for example, Rosetta, the baker that in the demo we encountered before, or now, for example, a priest, Anthony. All of these characters have, for gameplay purposes, they have their own missions and their own narrative. And something that is going to happen through the game is that it's going to be a progression between the relationship between Nova and these characters. And depending on how things will perform through the main events of the game, which are something that are kind of separated from these sort of secondary missions, they are going to differentiate. Not saying that it's going to be branching or there's going to be replayability due to different mission, but what I want to say is that in some way the actions Nova performs in the main events of the game do have some kind of repercussion on the other characters on a very, very slightly level, but it's still there. But you also
Oh,
sorry.
In some way we wanted to explore many themes that this concept of Venice brought to the future, with tides coming in, were given to us. There were a lot of narrative themes that we wanted to explore and to
yeah, something we want to give our vision to, like our own spin at it.
Yeah, we ambitiously want to get deep in the narrative of the game through these secondary characters and secondary quests. So getting back to the overworld, as you might have seen, going through the city, you will find those colored things you collect. Those are called vibes and are sort of a mini game of Nova's overboard. When Nova puts the overboard on their feet, Nova starts to listen to music through the headphones, and the player can pick up different colors to have different traits and different kind of music. So we wanted to have the overboard as the main tool to chill out through a Venice that is damaged and affected by climate change. So Nova, in a kind of way, is can reflect the mood of the young people that are surrounded by all those big issues of the world and want to isolate a bit, just to have a little pause and a little relax, just as you can maybe play video games in the reality. Sometimes video games are a chill moment to relax, sit down, have a pause from your daily life, and we wanted to give this feeling in Nova's overboarding and minigame with vibes. So we are in the middle of the development of Venice 2029. We are still developing the game from the demo that we have to point out. The demo was released in February 2021. So
January.
from there,
correction.
Yeah, from there. Go on, Giacomo.
No, well, I was about to joke around by saying, yeah, the 25th of January can be said it is February, but really, it was just a small correction, but I wanted to turn it as a joke.
Yeah, sometimes
and, totally failed.
Between all these lockdowns, I get lost in whatever month we are. So
yeah, that's true.
So we are still in development of the game, and the vibes are one of the features we didn't like at the beginning. So we are still trying to get them in the best spot as possible. So we are a bit reworking them, but the core identity of the vibes situation is that we want them to be a little game that can be expressive of Nova's and players' feelings. So we are still trying to figure it out, which are the best ways to mix the colors together, get different traits and different music moods.
Yeah, as Francesco said, Nova's hoverboard is a mean of escape, which ties perfectly with the mood of Nova during the first days. The motion, the action of actually putting on headphones, and when the music kicks in, you start to see these colorful things around Venice that are not real. They're not in the real world. They are a product of Nova's imagination, and it really brings that feeling of just wanting to chill out, don't think about anything else, just doing your own thing and be at peace, basically. Well, can't really say you be at peace with basic music that brings in with the vibes. And yeah, I'm going to say that I will also going to concur with what Francesco said about development of the vibe system, which at the start during the first demo back in 2020, we weren't really that happy. We were happy nonetheless for actually being able to make that, but the system lacked a motivation. It lacked as of why these things are here, other than emotional reasons. Emotional in the sense of bringing this chill environment in the game. Because many people at first, and this is completely normal because we didn't state it otherwise at the time. At first, many people thought it was a currency of some type, and through this feedback and many other, we decided to rework on the vibe system, bringing a new significance and also a new method of how it actually functions. And if you've been following our devlogs here on Steam, here, shameless promotion time. Every 26th of the month, we release a monthly devlog when basically I get to write all the things that we have done in 10 lines or so. And we put actually a lot of stuff of our development there. So if you're interested about what's the inside, what's behind the scenes of Venice 2089, be sure to remember the 26th.
Yeah, go check him out.
Shameless promotion time is over.
Yeah. So, going back to the game, as we can see, we got a quest from Min, that is a secondary character, and is a tourist in Venice. But during the quest, we found out that Min is actually very, very interested in Venice and very intelligent. Min knows a lot of things about Venice. So, in a kind of way, the characters for us were has a lot of work behind them in trying to figure out how people could look like in the future Venice, in a way that actual misconceptions or actual characters that are visualized as the tourist that is a bit distracted, it's a bit lost in Venice. On the contrary, they can become something very, very diverse in the future. So we work a lot on these kind of characters to go deep, as we said, into the narrative of the game.
Yeah, and the results so far are pretty good. I mean, we managed to create in such a small area because as of now, the part of the map you're seeing in the demo is actually a third of it of the complete level design we want to do in the game. And in such a small space, we managed to create a system of diverse characters, each one, as we said before, with their own beam and their own missions and their own quirky stuff, with their own quirky characteristics and traits. So yeah, we got Min that is very interested, very proactive tourist. Then we got the Bird Lady, which is this kind of cryptic character that I see there are some messages about on the Steam chat, and I'm going to read them in a second. And we got a lot of more characters that don't really play a principal role in the main, that they do not actively take part in the main story. And the main story is something that revolves around Grandpa and another character that we are going to in a second. And yeah, they may not act in the main missions, but this doesn't mean that they are not important. I do believe actually that they are a tiny bit more important than Grandpa himself and the other character, because they really do impersonate how people would act in a future Venice, just like Francesco said. So let's read some messages from the chat because I saw those about Bird Lady. It's a Bird Lady, it's just Bird Lady. Like, people refer to her like that. Oh, I'm sure she has many names and nicknames and titles she may have give herself, who knows. No, the actual name for the Bird Lady is Cecilia. But, you know, most people call her Bird Lady because shows in the name. You know, all the stuff with pigeons and catching feathers and a little bit more mysterious stuff that shows up the quest.
Yeah, as you can see, a lot of the quest of the game go through the exploration of Venice and picking up stuff that you found in Venice. We were inspired a lot by A Short Hike when we created the game. We wanted a game that was richful and in the environment had a lot of places that you can explore, and so we started creating all those quests about finding little cute stuff and collecting it together. When you receive a quest from one of the secondary characters or also main characters, you also receive like a trophy that we call memory. The memory is like a object that has the memory of the relationship between Nova and the character, and
Yeah.
Nova will
It's something
yeah.
like a memento, you will say.
Yeah, and Nova will keep it in the in their room as like a souvenir of Venice on something like that. But later in the game, you will discover that those kind of objects are more meaningful than just like random stuff you found in Venice.
Yeah, also, as a funny side note about this, yes, during the development of the game, during its first stages, when we actually ended up with a playable demo on something that roughly resembled that, many quests and many activities in the game were revolved around finding stuff, and during our little first post-mortem, like a sort of a review we do about the game, not seeing it as the developers behind it, but as players, we actually found out that the game had this sort of junk collector feeling, because there were a lot of stuff that Nova could pick up, and most of it wouldn't really be useful because how the quests work, they work on limited amount of items. So, for example, we watched before Nova getting Cecilia's first quest, which says to bring a fair amount of feathers, and that amount is always fixed. It never changes. It's always going to be 5, and considering that in the first level design there will be like 30 places to find where to find feathers, we had this feeling that the player would be collecting a lot of junk that wouldn't be actually useful for them in the quest and in the game. So what we did was to tone down a little bit interactables in the world. You see now the streets compared to our first demo are much cleaner, and there are less stuff to interact with, but still it brings that sort of abandoned place / something is wrong, but still it has elements level design that feels like it's not completely dead. There's still someone there. I don't know, it was just a funny note I wanted to make about the game.
Yeah, we are still trying to figure out how to express all those depth in the narrative of the secondary characters, putting all of it in the quests that can be simple and not so difficult to achieve in a gameplay sense the term, but at the same time they are deep in the emotion that you get from of completing them. So even if you pick up something in a really simple way, maybe that that item, that object has a huge significance for the character that you are towards you are bringing it.
Yeah.
I got a little bit.
Yeah, you got a little bit carried away and lost with words. So I'm just going to rephrase it a little bit better, but I'm sure the message went through. Don't worry. So basically, despite the simplicity of its items and how they are acquired, they hold an enormous amount of importance to Nova, especially memories, which we say again are the embodiment of or a memento of something important that happened that day to Nova, which most of the time, literally 99% of the time, will be quest, but still, it's a neat, funny way to commemorate a quest and like a sort of reward slash achievement, like something. I think I'm getting lost too, so I'm just gonna stop there.
We got a lot of stuff we want to say.
Yeah.
All together.
We actually do, yes.
So talking a bit about the style of the game, Venice 2009 is a 2.5D kind of game, but it's a little experiment, an experimental one, because the characters are 2D and they go through this city that is like a labyrinth. You have those like a how can you say it? Some binaries that you have to.
Yeah, it's difficult to find the term actually. More like the. Oh, god damn it! I'm trying to find the term. Linear.
Linear way.
It's something that I believe it's still fairly new. You know, linear games were the pinnacle of video game pioneering. Your first games that were based on a single binary that the player had to follow forward or backward. And still, we're trying to bring our own spin to it by adding this three-dimensionality and the fact that the player can actually turn around while always having a fixed camera. And this is, I say years now, it's a very sharp double-edged sword.
Yeah. At first we wanted to have characters that were 2D because we knew that 2D characters were a lot of our strength as a team, but at the same time we exploring how to put Venice in a video game. We figured it out that having a 2D Venice would not be as much powerful as a 3D Venice. So we kind of found this solution to having like a Feds style kind of camera that will turn in on the corners of the buildings and create this labyrinth of streets that can be explored, and you can also get lost in it. So
Yeah,
another challenge we faced was the orientation during the in the map.
I know where this is going. Yeah.
So um, at first, of course, the first solution you have in mind is a map that can explain everything to you. But at the same time, we didn't want to have it in the game because we are all Italian people. We live near Venice, and everybody explored Venice in the team. And anytime we went to Venice, we kind of get lost. It's a kind of situation that it happens a lot of times
Yeah, if you go to
when you go to
Venice,
Venice.
it's bound to happen. You're bound to get lost.
Yeah, Venice is a beautiful city, but is also so complex in its architecture, in its style. It has so many layers of art history and art architecture that are in it. So it's kind of easy saying, "Oh, this is the right way," and you will go straight forward into a dead end of the street. At the same time, when you ask a local citizen where you have to go to San Marco or Rialto, they also give you a not not clear direction of the street that you have to take. So we wanted that lost getting lost in Venice was part of the experience. So at the same time, we wanted to make clear where are the objective you have to
Yeah,
to
at the same time, we don't hate ourselves and we don't hate our players.
yeah.
And we actually thought of a solution.
Yeah, so we put the signs in some specific spots of the streets, just as in Venice, there are those signs in the same style that point toward the main attractions of the game and of the city. So if you get lost during our demo, it's because we wanted to, and
It's completely normal, yeah.
yeah, but as soon as you follow the signs and get to know all the different location, you surely will f- you surely found out the right way to your objective.
Yeah. And I mean, it's still going to be controversial, even when we are going to release the full game. I'm sure that people will ask, why is there no minimap? Why isn't there some tool, instrument, something that the player can use to better orient themselves? And to this, I say that this orientation part is going to apply to maybe the first hour of the game, because considering how often you will backtrack to other location, or just maybe you are just chilling around in your hoverboard and then you are going to get those vibes. You're going to get to the same places many times, and every little time you're going to memorize it a little bit more. You're going to remember where it is and what it has there. And I would also add that pretty much not everything, but most of the places in our map and in Venice in general are pretty specific. It's something that you would recognize. They are very recognizable. So just an example, San Travaso's church, or Zattere, this very long place with like tiny little details, and a quest hero who is Max. Or for example, the market. The market is probably the most different and original piece of level design in our demo as of now. So even though you're going to get lost, each time you're going to that place again because you have a quest or because you just want to wander around, you'll start to understand a little bit more. And seriously, in no time, you're going to remember the whole map by memory.
Yeah. Yeah, seeing where we are with the demo, Nova has just finished the first day of the demo, and the demo you have to play 2 days of the game. In the second, you have to challenge some variations of the map that we see very soon. And what's the like the general structure of the days? Nova, we have some main quests that they have to complete before getting to the second day or the third, and so on. So you are free to explore every secondary quest that you have, but to get to the next day you have to follow a linear narration through the main quest. So when you finished all those main quests, you have to get back to Grandpa house and go to bed.
Also, I think I want to add is that while narration of and the progression of the main quest linear, it is not that much for the secondary quest. For example, I think we have in our game is that if you pick a certain quest, because this thing applies to some quests, not every one of it. If you pick up a quest and then for X motivation, say you forget to do it, or you just were too lost and couldn't find the place to perform it, you didn't actually finish it. You didn't finish the quest, and then you proceed to the next day. Considering the level design change that people I think can already see through this dialogue, some quests may not work, and while some quests may, and some of it will actually require to progress to the next day, because for example in Max Quest, the one where you have to get all the different ingredients scattered through Venice in order to make these wacky ice creams, not all of them are going you are going to find them in the first level design. You actually are required to go to the second day in order to actually complete it. Meanwhile, some other quests, like for example, Anthony's one, the priest, where he requires you to clean the walls of the church. If you get the quest, but you don't actually finish it, he will still remember it and scold you for this. So it's something that I'm really, really proud of personally, because it's that touch of depth that you give to the different NPCs, and the fact that they are not just there as objects or just as normal NPC images that give you something, and then when you come back they give you something in return. They actually react to what is happening in Venice. They actually react to what you do, which is also something that I said before.
Yeah. Yeah, we get to know in the demo Leo's best friend, Nova's best friend, Leo. Leo is kind of our opposite of the grandpa character, so Leo still wants to change Venice and try to save Venice, but not in a peaceful way through posters or showcase of or manifestations, but more in a violent way through some vandalisms and violent acts towards the some of the corporation structures that are placed all around Venice. Corporations are the ones that are kind of saving Venice, putting all the main buildings away from Venice, but at the same time they are letting all the other buildings that you can see in the demo like sink in the high tides. So maybe you, Giacomo, have something to say about it.
You want me to handle it? All right. So, okay. First, let's open a little parenthesis about this called corporation. So yeah, narratively, Venice is no longer under regional or under Italian government administration. It is what may be called a private city. It is owned by private. It is owned, in fact, by a corporation called Atlas, which itself is a conglomerate of little corporation, more corporation, more brands, more privates, who takes care of a particular aspect of city's administration. And Leo isn't particularly fond of them. As Francesco said, he's a more violent, he's a more proactive type than Grandpa, which makes him his opposite, basically. And you can already tell that there is going to be a conflict of interest between Leo and Grandpa, with Nova that is caught right in between. Not as much as pick a side, but more like trying to move around and trying to understand both ideologies, both opinions about the city and what is going through, and trying to find some middle ground for both people. And yeah, as I said, Leo is a proactive type. For example, he's a fine arts student in Venice. So as you can already see around Venice, we also seen it in the first day of the demo. There are a lot of his graffiti, a lot of his art, and it's something that Leo does in order to get attention, but also to spread the message, to do something about Venice. Because one thing he said at the start of the second day, when he meets Nova, is that the city is getting wrecked and no one wants to do something about it. Here he kind of skipped, he kind of stepped over on Grandpa, which also Grandpa wanted to change, but Leo doesn't really believe that a more pacific or a more passive way of thought may actually bring some result. So he thinks his way is better. And yeah, in this day, this quest, he's going to do. No, I won't say it. He's going to do. I will say it. He's going to do a little bit of trolling with Nova. What he's going to do is he's going to take Nova around the city and do some slightly vandalistic stuff, like for example, as we just saw, tearing out the cables of a security camera, which, be granted, it will be used to fix the drone, because as of now, in this particular day and in this particular quest, Leo is also functioning as the tutorial for the drone, which is going to be another main mechanic of the game from this day forward. And he's going to do these things that are obviously not legal or not ethically right, but still manages to convince Nova through acting through his own pride, or through the fact that he wants to get things done, and he doesn't want to see Venice remain in this way. So he also tries to convince Nova to join his side. Let's say this.
Yeah, and as you said, at the end of the day, Nova will get the drone that is, as you said, the secondary mechanic, main mechanic of the game. So even if you will ride around with the overboard very fast through the city, in some points you have to stop and do some stuff to get the quest done. In these particular moments, you have to use the drone that has many application and interaction with the environment. The drone can pick up stuff that is right above you or in unreachable places by Nova. The drone can also scare away all the pigeons and the seagulls. And as you will see in a moment, the drone can also hack some stuff and push and pull some objects in the environment. During our production of the game, we are still developing new ways to get the drone in action, and check out our devlogs to see.
Shameless promotion part 2.
Yeah.
Like to bring a look. Yeah, what Francesco said basically sums the drone perfectly. Of course, it's Nova's mascot, and it's kind of a mascot of the game, apart from the NPCs and the secondary characters. You have this tiny, quirky yellow bowl that resembles a musical note, but actually resembles also in the point, the extremity of the gondola, the traditional Venetian boat. And you'd be surprised by how expressive and how personality he shows. Not really much in facial expressivity or narrative, but more by its action, like hacking, like picking up stuff. Scaling the drone is probably one of my okay, I'm going to take a quick breather now because I apparently can't talk anymore. It's my favorite animation and my favorite action for the drone. It's carrying away the pigeons, and also the seagulls that stand above Nova's boat, the ones that actually wakes you up during the first day.
Yeah, in a way, Venice is a chill game after all. I know Venice is in a difficult state because it's affected by tides, but we are putting all those moments of like comic moments in the game, in the sense that Nova, when it talks to characters, mostly all of the time try to make jokes with them, and at the same time the drone is it's like the mascot of the game that do all those cutie and funny stuff with the environment. So the drone is not a military drone, an aggressive drone. The drone is a toy drone, a toy that was given to Nova as when they was a child.
Yeah, and it really shows its appearances, its its cartoonish style, also having these big arms that come out of his very little circle, and yes, as I said, the general appearances of it. And the fact that it has these little functionalities, like some sort of facial expression, like for example, it can smile. The drone smiles when Nova is on the overboard, and it does like a boo face when it's scaring the birds away. It's this stuff that conveys the identity of the drone, which is not something that is really important to the story, but it's something that is really important to Nova.
Yeah. What can we say about Venice, Giacomo?
What can't we say about Venice? That's the thing.
I think we could speak about some other interaction that the drone will have in the future. Or sneak
well, we already teased it. I think we already teased it in one of our devlogs. Yeah, it was actually the last one. In the game, there are going to be some sort of puzzles that the player will have to perform. And in here, drone plays an important role. It's like the hack tutorial during the first day of the demo. Basically, Nova is going to accomplish something through the drone, and it's something that gives it a little bit more important. And basically, that's it for now. There are going to be puzzles.
Yeah, there are going to be puzzles.
I think we do have stuff to say about Venice.
Yeah. Yeah, we can speak about like the high tide Venice that we wanted to visualize in the game.
Of course, it's an exaggeration. You know, it's very much improbable at this time. At this time, as of June 2021, it's very probable for Venice to actually sink. But if there is something that Venetian people know, and general Italian people or people who live around Venice, is that it is actually sinking at a very slow rate, but every year the tides actually do get higher. And as it was said by Grandpa during a dialogue in the second day, once, as of now, to better explain it, as of now, the high tide phenomena is something that happens yearly. It's something that happens like during a very specific time of the year, during the last months of the year. And truth be told, yeah, it is an exaggeration, but it's also what gives it its beauty. Again, I say beauty between parentheses because it's not actually that beautiful to see a city that is getting destroyed by water. But what we can say is we try to give our own vision, our own spin, and I'm using this phrase a lot during this live stream. But yeah, what we are going to do is we are going to give you our vision of more like an artistic interpretation of the phenomena of the high tide. And again, as a little side note, during the development of the game, during its very first months, which happened in 2019, Venice was actually struck by a new highest level of high tide, which was actually something like 2 meters above the level of water, above sea level, which brought much destruction to the city, and it's something that is remembered dearly for now, and it is also like a testament of what the current ecological situation and climate change situation can bring in the not so distant future, because let's say 2089, yeah, it's kind of far, but considering everything, it's really not that far.
Yeah, in a way, we wanted to give a Venice that is not completely changed from like the days we are living in, because Venice is still there. You can still recognize Venice buildings, etc. But the only thing that has changed a lot is the high tide. In the past, the Venetian people, Venice people always managed to deal with the high tides and high tides has also become like a touristic
Yeah, it has become a touristic theme, a touristic attraction.
for people to get to see Venice. Oh, Venice is the sinking city. It's also beautiful in this way, but at the same time, for how long we can remain like this in the actual times. The climate change is a big problem. It's not a touristic attraction.
Yeah,
for the
it
cities.
doesn't need to be belittled. It actually needs to be very much endorsed.
Yeah, so in a way we want also to give credit to Venetian people that still are trying to survive in Venice with all those like artisan workshops and shops and still getting to deal with the high tides that are coming every year more higher.
Yeah, absolutely.
So linked to that, there's also the future Venice part of our game that is not as completely like cyberpunk future. Is more like a lo-fi cyberpunk.
Yeah, I think that's something that people would find interesting about the game. Is that despite the futuristic views, Venice doesn't look that much futuristic. I mean, oh, flying cars, oh, drones. I mean, drones, we do have those. Some level of detail found in the environment, for example, that more and more houses do have solar panels or some sort of energy sustainability. Or, for example, during the second day, the fact that there are these lifts that act as roads during the high tide. It's something new because it's not something that we see every day as of now, but it doesn't seem that futuristic, and that's something that's cool in my opinion, because future doesn't always say progress or progress of the technological ways, something like that. It could also be a stagnant moment, technologically speaking. So the fact that we have with Venice that despite some level of futuristic elements, it's still pretty much the same. It adds up to the original artistic and the original identity of the city, while also adding some stuff because we put 2089 in the title. Jokes aside, no. Jokes aside, it is a great balance. Something that we still have to work on because considering being a demo and considering that the product is not complete, I think we can do a much better work at representing the futuristic elements in the game. But as of now, I do believe it's a good balance of things in the game. It's not overly traditional, and it's not Cyberpunk 2077, as to say.
Yeah, it has just the right kick of future that you need to say we are in the future, but it's not enormous change from the reality. We wanted to keep the reality very, very clear, very, very near to the game, because climate change is not a future problem, is a actual problem, is living in the present where we live in. So, and
this is probably the main theme of Venice 2089, is that it's too late. Now this is obviously a super negative and exaggerated way, but it's the truth. It is too late to say Venice or like to reverting the effects to obtain the Venice that it once was. And this should make the player think about how can we solve the problem now? How can we make so that this version of Venice does not come true? And the officialization of this them came around during an event during the Now Play This. But I think it was an underlying theme that most of us already knew of, but didn't actually know the name or how to spell it in our own words.
Yeah. Yeah, and also a lot of the dialogues in the game has some link to the present, because as you may notice, like Venice is recognizable, just even if we are in the future, and just like that, also people stuff that Nova pick up came from a past that for us is the present, or for example Grandpa age, if you make some math you can see that Grandpa is a zoomer, so he
Yes.
was born in
Canonically, Grandpa was born 2014. It officially makes him no, it's not a zoomer. I think it's the next generation that I don't know the name of, Alpha, something like that. I don't know, but anyway, yes, it is he was born in very recent times.
Yeah.
Like he'd be a toddler by now. Okay,
yeah, Nova is probably, I don't know, what can we call her or them?
You mean by age? Oh no, by generation. Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I have no clue, my friend. I mean, we are just struggling to find the name of the generation beyond the 2010s. You think that we can already say the generation beyond 2080s? I mean, man, it's 60 years. There is a slightly big, there is a slightly difference there.
Maybe it's Nova generation.
It just might, considering some elements, considering some elements in our narration, it just might be called the Nova generation.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to be a party crasher and say that we are approaching the end of our stream. So I think we'll have our professional game player here, Giovanni, go back to Grandpa's house. Yeah, it has been a chill stream. It has been a Venice stream.
Yeah, it was. If you still have some questions, we will be here to
literally last minute questions, guys.
Yeah.
Otherwise, hey, you can find us on our social, like Twitter, Facebook, for those who still use Facebook. You can find us on Game Jolt, and you can find us on Instagram too. We also reply to discussions and that are made here on our Steam community, so also feel free to write us there. May I? Oh, sorry, no, please go ahead.
Go on. No, maybe yours is a better idea.
I interrupted you long enough. Now it's your turn to go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to remind that also we will have a Kickstarter page coming soon on June 20. So be sure to head up to Kickstarter in a couple of days and wishlist our page so you can get updates when the Kickstarter will start.
Yeah, and you thought my thing was more interesting. Hell no. This is the stuff we should say. No, what I was going to say is does our also professional game player, but also sound designer and composer Giovanni does he have something to say? You know, he kind of stayed silent the whole time.
I mean, I just wanted to let you guys talk more, because you know a lot more about behind the scenes. I know mostly
But
about the
you
music.
know more about the music, which is also a very important part of our game.
Well, the music with this was just the basics of what we want, and I'm pretty sure that in the future we'll throw some sneak peeks through the devlog, through the Kickstarter page on
That
how
all
we
depends
expanded
on you,
on
my
it.
friend.
Oh, we already have expanded on it, so it's just a
That
matter
all
of
depends
time
on
to
you.
until I finish the final product and we can get something new. But yeah, as you said, I think we're running out of time, so I'll just end the day here, let the credits roll, and then we'll say our goodbyes, let's say.
And then we'll pull it today, yeah.
Yeah, we can say also that in the development of the game, we are trying to build also some night sections of the game that you could
Hey.
find maybe.
That's still spoiler stuff. I wanted to tease that on a devlog.
Yeah, but who were watching us in this stream will have also a sneak peek of the devlog. So
Another sneak peek. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense, yeah.
this is a sneak peek.
Now say this again 10 more times, as fast as possible. Good luck. No, don't do that. Don't do that or you're going to run out of breath. So, yeah, that's it. As Francesco said, on June 20, we are going to release our pre-launch Kickstarter page for Venice. So we are also going to spam it around on our socials. So if you want to stay updated on our Kickstarter, which has gone through ups and downs, please do head there, subscribe to the newsletter, and be ready for a steadfast amount of content that we are going to release. Also, I would like to also remind you that the 26th, we are going to release here on Steam our own monthly devlog, when we are going to talk about the stuff we have been in development and we have been working on during this last month. And, you know, a general reminder that we have various social medias, but I think you guys already knew that, so if you want to follow us, just Venice 2089 on every major platform and you'll find us there.
Yep.
Anything to add?
No, I think we're done. I think we could call it now.
Although I believe that we still might do a thing. There might still be something that we can do. Let me say, because there may be some very important. How about this?
Oh,
Do you think
yeah.
it's doable?
Yeah, I think we can make that. I think we
Nice.
can make that.
So yes, we actually have one last thing to show you. And I also nailed the Nintendo thing. I do hope there's audio though.
Yeah, there should be. Let me just make sure it has good quality.
Is it on my end? But the oh no, okay, it's all okay. Never mind.
So what are we gonna do, Giacomo? Right now?
Right now, well, I think
sneak peek.
this is another sneak peek indeed. It's a new trailer, which is different from the ones that has been shown at Guerrilla Collective. There are some new stuff. There are some new elements that the ones who are cautious and have a keen eye might see. And yeah, it basically is our little pick. And just like that, Kickstarter coming soon.
Right. Yep.
So I think we can end this stream here. It's been great fun. It's been a nice conversation between developers, and I think we'll see you guys next time. When it's gonna be, find out on our socials.
All right. Thank you for tuning in, guys.
We can do our goodbyes now.
Yep. It was a good time.
Yeah.
We'll see you again
Bye.
next time. Bye.
See ya.